each at work, seeds of joy in every row. Come on down, we'll show you how what's fresh and green is growing now. At Bob's Market, we've got it all, from garden dreams to greenhouse halls. Catch the buzz, catch the show, where the best of the season grows. Tomatoes ripe, peppers bright, tips for keeping blooms in sight. Let's make your backyard glow. Tools and plants, advice for free. Bob's is where you want to be. At Bob's Market, we've got it all, from garden dreams to greenhouse halls. Catch the buzz, catch the show, where the best of the season grows.
Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Bob's Live, our weekly show right here on the internet. And well, this week we finally have some warm weather. It is beautiful outside right now. And this morning I stopped by one of the greenhouses that you might not see that often in our videos. And that's because it's some of our older greenhouses here at Bob's where we grow a lot of our finished product. So this greenhouse actually have a photo from way back when. That's actually Bobby and John, and I think Tony maybe might be the little guy there. But that is way back in the 80s in one of the greenhouses that I'm going to take you to today. So let's head out into the greenhouse and see what's growing. This morning I am here in the greenhouses right in behind the market at Mason. And in these greenhouses we grow some of our finished product. So on the floor behind me right here are hanging baskets just like the ones that we saw last week down at our field house location. So these are growing out, and once they get a little bit bigger, we'll actually move them up to hooks in the ceiling, and then that frees up this floor space for even more plants. So in this section we have mixes, just like what we saw last week, but over here one bay over, if you're not looking for a mix, we have baskets with just 3 of the exact same color. So if I get down closer here, these are all Calibrachoa Cabaret series, and this color is Light Pink Kiss, which has beautiful little dark center, and then of course some yellow right in the middle. So very beautiful blooms. Alright, so let me close this door. This is one of the oldest greenhouses here at Bob's. In fact, this kind of used to be the original kind of nerve center or production area at Bob's. We still call this the head house. Like many greenhouse operations have kind of one central building that they use for production, and this used to be it. In this greenhouse we have a mixture of baskets now. So on this side over here, it is all fern baskets. We're growing close to 60,000 ferns this year, and we have them stuffed in every little nook and cranny. And then over on this side we have tuberous begonias, which we saw the begonias as cuttings a few weeks ago down at the field house. They've been transplanted, and now the baskets are starting to grow out, and I'll have to look around. There might be a few that are starting to pop some early blooms that we could take a look at. But I wanted to show you something kind of interesting about this greenhouse, and that is all of our newer greenhouses, you know, they are built, you know, kind of pre-designed, custom ordered, and everything. This greenhouse, you know, they needed space back in the 80s, so they just knocked out the wall here and made like a little lean-to. But this one little section right here, I walked down through and did a count. It's about 250 extra baskets that we could cram in. So back 40 years ago, when they needed extra space, somebody got the idea, hey, we'll just bump this wall out a little bit and gain some more room. And right here we go. I found an early begonia blossom. So all of these are sitting here on the floor. They all have drip tubing going to them. And then the ones that are hanging up above, they have a little tube that comes down with a little drip hose going directly into the basket. This is another section of the same greenhouse, and in here it is all ferns. And you'll notice the fern baskets on the floor we have setting on pots that are turned upside down, and that's so as they grow the fronds can kind of hang down over the sides and not touch. Something that I did to record in here to make it a little bit quieter is I just turned off the fans up above. This greenhouse, you know, it is dead simple in how it operates. It has thermostats that control everything, and there's no computers or anything like that to turn on the HAF fans. Yeah, we just have some switches. So with the fans on, yeah, it's a little bit louder in here, but we need it for air circulation. So normally when I record, I actually run a filter to cut out fan noise. So that's kind of behind the scenes of how I record some of the audio when I'm shooting video. And finally, I'll finish up here in this greenhouse. I think this, I know it's one of the older greenhouses, but I also think this might be the smallest freestanding greenhouse that we have here at Bob's. And we still use it. So in here we have ferns on the floor, and then we also have various hanging baskets up here in the ceiling. So we have some Tradescantia, looks like some bridal veil, different things like that mixed in up above here. And yeah, until just a few years ago, we were actually still using this greenhouse in our vegetable seedling plug production. So I remember 10 years or so ago coming down here and counting like flats of lettuce and stuff like that. So kind of cool weather seedlings. And that's a quick walkthrough of one of the more off the beaten path areas here at Bob's. You know, this time of year, we're kind of sticking plants wherever we can to get them ready for the spring. So we'll check back in on these as they start to fill out and start blooming more. And keep an eye out like on our Instagram page. I try to post kind of fresh bloom photos over there, especially this time of year when you're not really seeing a whole lot of green outside. So make sure you check that out. And then, of course, you can find everything Bob's Market over on our website at bobsmarket.com. So that was a very behind the scenes look at kind of an area that's sort of off the beaten path here at Bob's. Um, yeah, as I said before, the weather today, I had on sunglasses because it was just so stinking bright today out in the greenhouse. Um, but yeah, the weather is really beautiful. So let's take a look at the current weather. And right now, temperature is saying it's 37 outside, but it says that it feels like 49. And yeah, out in the sun, it feels like it. I had on that North Face jacket recording that video, and by the time I got done, I was sweating. And if we look ahead at the forecast, um, we are looking like we're going to be in the 40s and 50s for the next few days, and then heading into next week, we're even going to hit 60. So we're definitely going to get all that snow out of here and hopefully start seeing some warm weather as we start inching more towards springtime. And hopefully, with that, everything dries out a little bit. I know right now, my yard, like I could get out there and work, but it is a muddy mess right now. And I have stuff that I need to do, and I'm chomping at the bit to do it, but it's just too muddy right now. I know between my house and my garage, it is a lake. I'm going to need a boat to get over to my truck tomorrow morning if what melts doesn't flow away eventually. And yeah, I'm taking a look at the comments. Yeah, Stephanie says it's cool, but I'm happy to have the sun. Yeah, I am just happy to have the sun. And she also says, back during the video when it was playing, can't wait to plant flowers. Yeah, my green thumb's itching. I've been looking at my pansies. They have been blocks of ice, literally. Like they had this much ice on top of them. And it looks like most of them survived. I did have some in a planter, and I thought the planter was going to make it. It was kind of in a protected corner up next to my house. But with all the ice on the roof, it dripped into the planter, and literally the planter turned into a giant ice cube. So it is full all the way up to the top with ice. Yeah, Patty says I'm ready to wear flip flops. Yeah, me too. Yeah, I can't wait for flip flop and barefoot weather. Let me find my mouse here. I always lose it when I jump over to the weather screen. It's over on another monitor. There we go. So yeah, that is all that I have for this week's episode of Bob's Live. And yeah, next week we're gonna head out and check out some other stuff out in the greenhouse. I also might have a project here in my office. I really need to clean up my houseplant area. So I might record that and show you kind of my springtime or early spring process for kind of rejuvenating my houseplants. This is the time of year where they're starting to get more sun and they start to kind of perk back up a little bit. So yeah, that is what I have coming up. Of course, you know, this weekend it's Valentine's Day. At our stores, we have a great selection of stuff for Valentine's. So stop by our Belpre or Mason Market and check out what they have for Valentine's Day. Yeah, Stephanie says my driveway in Rockport is still awful. Still so icy. Been stuck at home for a month now. Yeah, I feel that. The last snow that we had, when was that? Last Tuesday. I had to get my furnace worked on, and the guy came to work on the furnace with his van. He needed a part. Another guy came with his van to bring the part. They both got stuck in my driveway. A four-wheel drive truck came from their company to pull them out. He also got stuck in the driveway.
So I was like, hey, fellas, we've got a spare bedroom. I don't know if all three of you could fit in the bed, but hey. Luckily, they made it out before nightfall, but yeah, that was a mess. And luckily, our driveway has started to finally thaw out. And yeah, hopefully everybody thaws out and we can get outside and start working on some very, very early spring projects. So things right now, pruning trees, clearing out flower beds, things like that. And well, that is all that I have for this week. So until next time, keep growing.
At Bob's Market, we've got it all, from garden dreams to greenhouse halls. Catch the buzz, catch the show, where the best of the season grows.